What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Trick 10s. I'm your host, Matt Downs, and today we are working on a Xpress 1860. Now, we just did a low 1860 not long ago. I think it turned out sick. The differences between those two hulls is insane. That low looked a whole lot wider than this boat does up on the deck. Now, the beam of them are different. Every boat is different. This is a sick build, though. We have not done an Xpress before, so I'm kind of excited to get into this boat and start ripping into it, see how it's put together and how it's fabricated. I do like the look of it. Design looks like it's pretty cool. Got a couple of issues right out the gate, though. I already know we're gonna have with these hatches. That's one of the reasons the customer brought it in here, is because these hatches are leaking. He's got plans to build this deck back to the console. There's some storage in here. He's got tons of stuff that's going into this build. I'm not sure if it's gonna be in the budget for me to install all this stuff, but I am gonna show you guys everything he's got. I'm at least gonna get the first stage of this build completed, which is gonna be all of the metal work. I'm gonna turn this camera around and show you guys the boat, give you a walkthrough, and show you what we plan to do with it. But before we get into that, I just wanna let you guys know that Austin is back full-time, and we are hungry. We are ready to do some work, guys. If you want anything done to your boat, metal fabrication wise, we will pump it out. If I have spoke to you about doing a job for you and just told you that I was too busy to call me back later or put you off, well, today's the day. Call me today. I'll get you scheduled. We'll get your boat in and out in a week or two. We're ready to rock and roll with these builds, guys. With Austin here helping me, sky's the limit. Let's check this thing out. All right, so let's start up here on the bow. Now, he does have a trolling motor that we might be putting up here for him, but we do have to cut a hole into this deck for a recessed foot pedal tray, and he's gonna be getting one of the custom Trick 10s dual graph bridges. Now, one thing he does want me to address is the fact that this bow bows up really big right here. It's really hard to see it because of the camo pattern, but right in this area, it drops down, and it's probably a ½ inch difference from here to up here. So once we get that hole cut out, we might have to throw some extra stiffeners up underneath there just because we want to try to level out this floor for him. It's something that he noticed. He stands up here and fishes a lot. I got a feeling once we cut that recessed foot pedal tray hole out, though, that's probably not going to be an issue anymore. Behind that, he's got his storage hatch up here. This is the main storage hatch on the entire front of the boat. It's kind of weird the way this thing is set up because it has a rod locker hatch on this side too, but these two hatches have no internal walls in them. They're not separated at all. This is all wide open space up inside of here. So anything that you put inside of here will eventually end up back here in the backside of this rod locker because there's no wall or anything to divide it to keep it from falling in there. So that is something that we're probably going to try to do, is put some type of a wall inside of here, at least to split these two compartments off. Now, he has some issues with the draining on this hatch right here. I'm going to hop up in this boat and I'm going to show you guys what we got going on with it. All right, so the way this thing designed, it's kind of weird. I mean, they almost nailed it. It's pretty cool the way this is set up because it's all one piece. It's like a pan that bends down here, comes up, returns back underneath here. Same thing up in the back. It comes up and then returns in the back. And it's welded across this back. It's stitch welded. So, I mean, really, the water runs in here and run out the face of it. Great idea. The only thing they left off of it was to bend the lip up here. This piece should have came up and returned up like a ½ inch. It would have kept this thing watertight. You can see up in the side, it's not gonna keep water out. This is just a gasket. It's already got a hole in there. So all that water is just getting up in these corners and leaking down inside of here. Let's drop that down, Austin. Another thing about that is the way this thing sits here. Now, if you look at it from the face, the door is actually sitting farther than the actual deck itself, which is just gonna make it impossible for us to come off of here and start framing to bring this deck back, because we're trying to enclose this whole front area right here. And me and Austin were looking at this earlier and talking about how we're going to do it. And the solution that we came up with is that we've got to get rid of this hatch right here. It's just not going to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut it out. We're going to leave this little trim piece around here And we're gonna cut it basically in this corner, all the way across here on 3 sides. We'll take this face out. We're gonna have to add a couple pieces across this face to support it. Then we're gonna drop a new hatch in here and just do away with this whole thing right here. Our piece will be square and we'll have a flat surface to start framing off of. Now, I did talk to the customer about this hatch, and we might end up doing this hatch too. Not 100% sure yet, but we need to get that one out of the way. That way we can start framing. We're gonna bring this deck back all the way to the console. And we have 3 big lithium batteries. We're gonna put it right up on the face right here. We have 1 long compartment for those. And then in front of that, we're gonna separate it into 2 port and starboard compartments. And that's gonna give him lots of room for tackle and storage. This is an electric only boat. So he's got a lot of batteries in here. He's got a 24-volt battery that's gonna go for his Garmin Force trolling motor. Then he's got 2 other 12-volt batteries that are going up in this front box right here. He's got 2 more in the back. So it's got a pretty cool console in it. I mean, he's only running a 5 horsepower Elco motor on this thing. So it's kind of pointless to have the console, in my opinion. It takes up a decent amount of space, but this would be really sick if you had like a 75 horsepower outboard on it. Controls over here. I'm not familiar with these Elcos. This is the first time I've seen one of these, but I'll show you guys that in just a second. He does have some storage up underneath it here. It's like a gun box, I guess. Got his seats mounted onto that. He's got a live well right here in the back bench. Pretty good sized live well. He's got a lot of plumbing supplies and stuff over there. I'm not sure if he's going to get me to run all this stuff for this live well, but I got a feeling that it's probably not working if he's got all these pumps for it. That gets us into the back deck. Got a pretty good sized back deck on it. He's got 2 lifetime batteries in here. He's 100 amp hours. Both of these batteries are just going to be to power this little Elco outboard right here. This thing is kind of silly, in my opinion. It's really small. It's only 5 horsepower, so I don't really see it pushing an 1860 any more than a couple miles an hour. But it's on a nice jack plate. I'm not exactly sure what this thing runs though. I'm pretty positive that the trolling motor that's going on here probably be able to move this boat close to 5 miles an hour, and that's probably about as fast as you're going to get out of that thing. This boat does have an amazing trailer on it though. I'm really digging this thing. He's got nice wheels on here. It's a solid aluminum trailer. I mean, the look of it is nice. It's got some good looking welds on it. It's made by Backtrack Trailers. Never heard of them before, but they did a good job on this rig. I mean, if you're looking for a trailer, it's probably one of the nicest trailers I think I've probably ever seen. I want to get one of these for my personal tracker, to be honest with you. It looks like something I would make. Very well constructed, simple, all aluminum. I mean, what more could you ask for out of a trailer, really? Definitely a sick trailer. All in all though, it's a pretty sick rig. I mean, this thing is really cool. It'd be nice if it had a bigger outboard, but for what he does, fishing electric only, we're gonna set this thing up for him, give him a big front deck on here. The first thing that we're gonna do, we're gonna cut this hatch out and we're gonna start framing off of there. Let's get right into it. All right, so I forgot to show you guys all the electronics that are going in here. This guy has a lot of stuff that's going into this rig. We've got another 12-volt lifetime battery. He's got a 24-volt amp battery. This is gonna be just for the trolling motor itself. And this is like a little box that he made. It's pretty cool. He's got all these switches and stuff in here. He's got the ability to charge stuff, and he's got a smaller 12-volt lithium battery inside of there. That is going to go up in the front with these other 2 right up against the existing deck. Now he does have this brand new Garmin Force trolling motor, and this is going to be more than enough to power this boat and run it at least 4 or 5 miles an hour. This is my favorite trolling motor that's on the market right now. I do like the Garmin stuff. He's got all Garmin graphs. He's got a 126, 293s. He's got the Panoptics that's going in here, and he's also got a NOCO charger for those other 2 batteries we're going to be putting in the boat. Now, one thing he has that I thought was really cool is this thing right here. Check this thing out. This is the right height. I am not familiar with this, but I am excited to hook this up. I'm hoping that he lets me do this because I want to see how this thing works. But this mounts onto the trolling motor, and look on the top here. It's got an arrow. So once it's deployed, you can control this. This is where your transducer goes for this live scope. So you can use the spot lock, and in theory, you've got a momentary switch in this bag right here. It's got a right and a left. You put this up on the front deck, you can step on either side, and that will allow you to have 2 hands on your fishing rod, and you'll be able to move this thing around. And you can scope with the Panoptics without having to have it on a manual pole, which I think is pretty dope. That's pretty cool. I'm definitely gonna have to get one of those for my rig. He also has 2 of these Minn-coated deckhand winches up here, and he's gonna put one of these in the front, one of these in the back. That way he can keep the boat perfectly still, no matter how rough of water he's fishing in. He's got a lot of electronics going in here. He's got 2 other boxes full of all of his switches and stuff for hooking up all the wiring. This thing's gonna be sick, guys. Let's get back to work. All right, so you see what we did with this front hatch now? Just chopped that piece out, built up an interior frame, dropped the new hatch in there. That works out great. I did talk to the customer and he wants to go ahead and do the same type of deal with this. Now this one's gonna be a little bit different because this hatch is like tapered back here and it's got, you know, this whole side panel on it. But we're gonna pretty much just remove the top of this, cut these welds, pull this out, pull the whole face of this out. And then it has another piece back here. We're gonna take that out too. We're just gonna frame this thing out just like we normally would. Only difference is that we have to reuse these vertical walls that are in here. So it's gonna be a little bit tricky. Should be able to get this done though. Let's get back to work. All right, so check it out, man. This deck looks killer. It's really sweet. I like the way these are set up with these dual hatches side by side that open up like the French doors. I think that's really cool. I was originally envisioning all these doors opening up towards the bow, but with this one on the side, I think it makes more sense to open it that way and having that one open against it. I think it looks a whole lot better. It also allowed us to keep all of these handles in line right here. So once you get all the turf and stuff in here, I think that will look a lot better. But this hatch over here, man, this thing is cool. It's got a super sharp point over here. This angle is, it's dope, man. Not one corner on this entire hatch was square. I had to do that hatch though in order to get the rest of this stuff to sit in here square. Now you can see we had to add a filler piece over here, and that piece is shorter up there. It tapers back, it's bigger back here. But we would have the same issue in between this hatch and these two hatches right here, where it would have been no gap there, and then that gap would have just got bigger and you'd have like a 2-inch gap down here. So remaking that hatch cleaned up this whole front deck. Plus that sharp corner, the thing was hard to make, but it really looks good. And that opens up for his big rod locker. And he's got lots of room inside of there too. Sweet, man, turned out good. Now the corner of that was a little bit different. I did have to leave a little bit open like that. It's still strong, but you can see it's close. With that full corner, you can't get that sharp of an edge on there. I'm hyped about the way this thing turned out though. This is gonna be his big battery storage. He's got 3 batteries gonna go in there, battery charger, and his black box. And then we redid this hatch. He's got lots of storage in there. That's where his carpet and stuff's at. I cleaned it up a little bit. We still gotta do some cleanup. But I wanted to show this to you guys now. I still have to put the recessed foot pedal in here, and I'm gonna be cutting that out in the morning, but these hatches have to get powder coated. So we're taking these over to the powder coaters. It's probably gonna be a couple days before I get these back. So I just wanted to wrap this video up here. This is pretty much the bulk of what we're doing. We might do some electrical install. I know that he wants me to at least install that Garmin trolling motor and cut the hole for the recessed foot pedal tray. So that might be all we do for this first video. We might end up doing a second video where we do a lot more, but I'm liking this, man. This whole thing looks really good. I mean, it changed the whole look of the front deck, and having all these Trick 10s custom hatches in here, especially where these old hatches were at, it's gonna help him out immensely with the drainage. All these hatches have drain tubes on them so he can divert the water down. Plus, before I put all these in, I'm gonna put sealant underneath of them and around the edges of them. I'm gonna use some black marine silicone, and that will really keep all the water from just running back off of them onto the floor and then back down to the bilge. Thing looks dope though. Definitely an upgrade for this Xpress. All right, so it's definitely a sick upgrade on the boat, man. First Xpress we did, and I mean, we killed this thing. Me and Austin did this build in 3.5 days so far. Now I am gonna probably have another half a day, maybe a day, installing the trolling motor, the recessed foot pedal tray, and installing all these hatches once they come back from the powder coaters. But all in all, we made quick work of this build. We've got 2 other boats already here and about 20 lined up. I'm just kidding. We got a lot though. I'm gonna be hitting you guys with some cool stuff. If you guys are interested in getting some work, please reach out to us. Now is the time, baby. We are rocking and rolling on these projects. You wanna get something like this done to your rig? Like I said, we did this in 3.5 days. We can have you in and out in about 2 weeks. You wanna do electrical, plumbing, wiring, that takes a little bit more time. But this metal work, we got this stuff down to a science. I appreciate you guys watching. Hit that like, subscribe button, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this build. If you guys have an Xpress, I'd love to hear your feedback on them and what you think will be good add-ons or modifications or things that you like and don't like on your rig, because this is the first one we've done. If you guys want any merchandise, you can check that out on trick10s.net. If you want any metal products, go check out my website, Trick10s John Boats. If you'd like to order any of my products, just send me an email, please, at professionalwelding@gmail.com. That is the best way to get in contact with me. Leave me your phone number, leave me the information for shipping and whatever material it is that you want. If you're not sure on what products that you want to buy or have questions, give me a call. You can call the shop at 757-853-9371. I'll see you guys later. Let's get back to work.